shuffling steps, a slight forward lean, one arm barely swinging. Look familiar? Most people over 60 don't realize how much their walk has quietly changed. You don't notice it happening until someone films you from behind and you barely recognize the way you move. And here's the strange part. Most of these 7 mistakes don't feel like mistakes at all. Some of them even feel like they're helping. Don't worry. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 7 walking mistakes I see constantly in my patients over 60. Mistakes that don't just make walking less effective, but that may be slowly working against your joints, your balance, and your energy without you ever realizing it. And for each one, I'll show you the simple fix. Let's talk about how this happens in the first place. Walking feels automatic. You've done it your entire life, so it seems like the one thing your body could never forget how to do properly. But here's the thing. Your walking pattern isn't fixed. It adapts, slowly, to whatever you do most. If you spend most of the day sitting, your hips tighten. If your balance has quietly gotten a little less steady, your brain starts shortening your stride without asking your permission. If a knee or hip has ached on and off for years, your body compensates around it. None of this happens overnight. It happens over years, one small adjustment at a time, until what started as a minor compensation becomes your new normal walk, and you stop noticing it's even there. You don't wake up one day walking differently. It creeps in so gradually that by the time it's fully formed, it just feels like how you walk. The good news is, once you know what to look for, most of these mistakes are simple to correct. Let's start with the first one, and it's probably the most common thing I see. This first one hides in plain sight. Chances are you've seen it in someone else long before you ever noticed it in yourself. This is the one I see most often. Instead of a full heel-to-toe step, the foot barely lifts off the ground, sliding forward in short, shallow steps. It often starts small, a slightly shorter stride here, a little less lift there, usually because of reduced ankle mobility, a fear of tripping, or muscles that have quietly weakened from years of less activity. The problem is, shuffling reduces the natural shock absorption your foot and ankle are designed to provide, and it can contribute to catching your toe and stumbling, the opposite of what people are usually trying to avoid. Here's a simple way to notice it. The next time you walk across a room with a hard floor, listen. A shuffle often has a dragging or scraping sound. A full step has a cleaner, lighter rhythm, heel down, then toe. The fix. With every step, consciously land on your heel first, then roll through to push off your toes. If that feels difficult at first, practice it slowly at home, holding onto a countertop, before bringing it into your regular walk. A simple cue to remember: heel, roll, push. But this next mistake is even easier to miss because it often looks like the opposite of a problem. Some people even think they're doing the safe thing. A lot of people, especially if they're a little unsteady, start watching their feet as they walk, as if checking with every step that the ground is still there. It feels like it should help with balance. In reality, it often does the opposite. Looking down shifts your head and center of gravity forward, which can affect your posture and balance rather than protect it. Your eyes are also your best early warning system for uneven ground. Pointed at your shoes instead of 6 to 10 feet ahead, you spot the crack in the sidewalk a half second too late. Try this next time you're walking indoors. Notice where your chin is pointed. If you catch yourself watching your feet, that's the mistake showing up in real time. The fix. Keep your chin level and your eyes focused a comfortable distance ahead, the way you'd naturally look while having a conversation with someone beside you. Your peripheral vision still picks up the ground right in front of you. You don't need to stare at it directly. A simple cue: eyes up, chin level, look ahead, not down. Now here's one that hides below the knee, and almost nobody thinks to check for it. Some people walk with their knees almost fully straightened on every step, especially if a hip or knee has been achy and locking it feels more, quote, stable. Walking with locked knees removes your body's natural shock absorber. Every step sends more impact straight up through the joint instead of being softened by a slight controlled bend. Over time, this pattern can contribute to more joint discomfort for some people, rather than less, the opposite of what people are usually hoping for when they lock the knee in the first place. Here's how to check for it. Look at yourself from the side, in a mirror or a window reflection, mid-stride. If your leg looks perfectly straight the moment your heel touches down, that's a locked knee. The fix. Allow a slight, soft bend in your knee with every step, even at the moment your heel touches down. It should feel springy, not stiff, almost like your leg is a shock absorber doing its job quietly with every step, rather than a rigid pole holding you up. And if you think that one is easy to spot, wait until you see how sneaky the next mistake is, because most people don't even realize their arms are involved in walking at all. Watch someone walk with their arms barely moving, held close to their sides, almost stiff, and you'll usually notice their steps look a little stiffer too. Arm swing and leg movement are connected. When your arms stop moving naturally, your torso tends to rotate less, and that can affect your balance and your stride length together. This often develops quietly, sometimes from years of carrying a bag, a cane, or simply holding tension in the shoulders without realizing it. Some people also just get self-conscious about their arms moving and consciously hold them still. Notice what your arms are doing on your next walk. Are they hanging stiff at your sides or moving naturally as you step? The fix. On your next walk, don't try to swing your arms harder or more dramatically. Simply stop suppressing the natural movement. Let them move loosely, opposite your legs. Your right arm should drift forward as your left leg steps forward, and back again as the other leg steps. Think loose shoulders, relaxed elbows, natural movement, nothing forced. The next mistake is a little different. It doesn't come from a bad habit at all. It usually comes from good intentions. This one doesn't look like a mistake at all. It often looks like caution. Many people, especially after a stumble or a fall scare, start sticking exclusively to the smoothest, flattest, most predictable paths available and avoid anything that looks even slightly uneven. The problem is, your balance system works the way any system in your body works, through use. When you only ever walk on perfectly even ground, your body loses practice adjusting to small changes in terrain. Then the one time you step onto grass, a curb, or an uneven sidewalk, your balance system can be caught off guard, simply because it hasn't had a chance to practice. Think about your last few walks. Was every single one on the exact same smooth, level surface? The fix. This doesn't mean seeking out risky terrain. It means occasionally including a little controlled variety, a grassy patch, a gentle incline, a curb step, in a safe, familiar area, ideally with someone nearby or something to hold on to if needed. If you have a history of falls or a balance condition, talk with your doctor or a physical therapist about what kind of terrain variation is appropriate for you specifically before trying this on your own. The sixth mistake is easy to overlook because it has nothing to do with your legs at all. This mistake is easy to miss because it's not something you can see, but many people, especially if they're a little anxious about falling or fatigued, unconsciously tense up and breathe in short, shallow breaths while walking. Shallow breathing means less oxygen reaching your working muscles, which can make a walk feel more tiring than it should, sooner than it should. It's also closely tied to muscle tension, and tense muscles tend to move less efficiently than relaxed ones. Here's a quick way to check yourself. Partway through your next walk, pause for a moment and notice. Are you breathing in short, shallow breaths, or is your breathing comfortable and steady? The fix. Every so often during your walk, take a slow breath in through your nose and let it out fully. If you can comfortably hold a conversation while walking, your breathing and your pace are probably well matched. That's actually one of the simplest checks you can use, and you don't need any special breathing technique beyond that. This next one might be the most surprising, because it's the mistake that looks the most like discipline. This last one surprises people, because consistency is usually a good thing, and it is when it comes to showing up every day. But walking the identical route, at the identical pace, in the identical way, day after day, means your body is only ever practicing one narrow pattern of movement. Real-world walking involves turning, stepping over things, adjusting your pace, reacting to people and obstacles, none of which a perfectly repetitive loop ever asks of you. Think about your last few walks. Was the route, pace, and surface almost exactly the same every time? The fix. You don't need a new route every day. Just occasionally vary your pace within a walk, add a turn or two, or choose a slightly different path once or twice a week. Small variety keeps your whole walking system, not just your legs, but your balance, your attention, your coordination, genuinely engaged, rather than running on autopilot. So there they are, 7 walking mistakes that quietly build up over years, usually without anyone ever pointing them out. Here's what I'd encourage you to do. Don't try to fix all 7 at once. Pick one, whichever felt the most familiar as I described it, and focus on that alone for the next week. Once it starts to feel natural, move to the next one. Small, deliberate corrections practiced consistently tend to stick far better than trying to overhaul your entire walk overnight. And I want to be clear about something important. These are common patterns, not universal ones. If you're dealing with a specific joint condition, a neurological issue, or you've had a fall recently, some of these adjustments may need to be tailored to you specifically. So if anything here concerns you, or you're not sure whether a change is safe for your situation, it's always worth discussing with your doctor or a physical therapist before making changes to how you walk. The goal isn't a perfect walk. It's a walk that works with your body instead of quietly against it, one small correction at a time. If any of these felt a little too familiar, comment which one below. I read every single one, and chances are you're far from the only one. And if this helped you see your daily walk a little differently, subscribe and turn on notifications. In the next video, we'll look at exactly how many steps a day actually makes a difference after 60, and the number might surprise you. Until then, take care of yourself, keep moving, and I'll see you in the next video.